if you
Go
I
ahead.
I just wanted to see if I can get an update what's going on because I haven't been here. I've been going to back deaths, funerals, so I haven't been here. So I'm not really. I need to see hear what the big picture is here.
Okay. Go ahead, Prolific.
Yeah, so it's a pleasure getting a chance to meet you, Tammy. My name is Prolific Pro Poet. I'm a nationally known traveling artist, touring artist around the country, one of the top ranked slam poets in my region. I am also a teacher who teaches individuals about spoken word, writing, so forth and so on. I help authors as well as those who are performers all over the country, as well as in other countries. I have clients in 2 different countries, including our own, and I work with them on everything from performance to writing, you name it. The thing that myself and Henry talked about a few months ago, and we're really trying to push this narrative, and we've had multiple meetings with several other people, some of which may end up showing up a little bit later. One of the things that we're trying to do is to push poetry into the mainstream. And what do I mean by that? I mean pushing poetry to the point to where not only is it something that people know what it is like they do now, but where it's something that's commonplace entertainment, right? It's something that that person who lives in the middle of the country, right? That person who lives in Omaha will turn on the television one day and sit down and watch poetry and things related to spoken word and things of that nature for a pastime, just like they turn on sports. So we're trying to make it where we push poetry to a place that it's never been, right? So we're trying to do something that's unprecedented in the history of humanity. So that's the vision that we have, that we're literally trying to push this as far as we can imagine. We're trying to build something that 40 years from now, when none of us are around, God forbid, but we're just being realistic, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years from now, when none of us are around, we're in a situation in which our legacy lives on through what we were able to accomplish and pushing poetry into the mainstream. I'm going to give you an example. Every single genre of music had to have a renaissance. It had to have a place in which it was pushed into the mainstream. You think about the music that happened during the 70s. You had individuals like Carole King. Right? Hey, what's going on, Kristen?
Hi, I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem, Queen. Yeah, and Kristen here, I just want to interrupt what I'm saying. She's one of our individuals that's been with us from the very, very start of this whole pushing poetry into the mainstream. She has been a very powerful advocate for this. She's a woman who's extremely intelligent. She's brilliant. She has a beautiful mind, and her heart is just as beautiful. So I just want to introduce everybody to her. But as I was mentioning, we're trying to push poetry into a place that it's never been. In the 70s, you had individuals like Carole King, you had Jim Croce, you had individuals like that that really helped to push folk music, for example, into the mainstream to where it became some of the most popular music. Then you had the 70s R&B, right? You had individuals like Al Green, you had Earth, Wind, and Fire, right? You had these individuals that helped to push that type of music into the mainstream. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we're the Earth, Wind, and Fires, that we're the Carole Kings, the Jim Croces, and we're trying to push poetry to a place that it's never been, to where decades from now, years from now, 100 years from now, people will look back and be like, yeah, that thing that Gabriella, Catherine, Tammy, Kristen, Prolific, and Henry helped to initiate is the reason why poetry is something that people are doing for a living, not just a few select people, but it's something that is actually now a career choice that people can make and be able to build generational wealth for themselves as well as for their families. So we have a vision that is beyond just something simple. A very famous person once said that if your vision doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. Henry and I are individuals who don't mind being scared. We don't mind being scared. We both have lived lives. For God's sakes, I lived in New York and in Detroit. He grew up and lived in Detroit. You can't be no scary person living in those areas. I live in Los Angeles now. You can't be no scary person. You got to have vision. And that's where we're at. We're trying to push poetry to the place that it's never been. We're trying to do things that's going to make it where creative minds are able to accomplish things that have never been accomplished before. When it comes to writing, when it comes to poetry, when it comes to doing plays, all of these different things. These are things that we're trying to do. Just like Hamilton kind of changed the game in their sector, we're trying to change the game in our sector with regards to spoken word, poetry, writing, being an author, so forth and so on. So that's a little bit about what our vision is, Tammy.
Yeah, hey, Prolific, can you turn your
Thank
volume
you.
down? Son?
Okay. Yeah, see, that's from 25 years of being a public speaker, man. I just naturally.
Yeah, because it's like rattling, you know, the whole situation rattling. Yeah,
I
go
would
ahead.
like to-
Go ahead.
Sorry. Let me know if you got my Wi-Fi isn't the best. I can move, but what Prolific just shared kind of sparked something in my mind. So the name of this group that we're pondering upon right now is Creative Minds Commission. But we're not just creative minds, we're specifically poets. And I feel like we want to push poetry to the mainstream. And I think maybe our name should say what we're doing, like poetry. And the name that came to my mind was Poetry Renaissance.
See, this is the thing, right? We had names with poetry in it, right? See, this is not just gonna be about poetry. That's why poetry isn't in there. Poetry is a part, but it's not the end all, right? Poetry may start it, but this right here, this is gonna be something that businesses can come to for loans. You know, small businesses, if people want to start small, they can come for loans. It's gonna be bigger than where it begins, right? But it has to begin somewhere, right? So poetry is the main frame. But the reason why I don't feel it should be a part of the name because it's limiting, right?
Yes.
And this is not a limiting mission, right?
I
This
could,
mission
I
is-
could, I,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I just wanted to cut in real quick. I couldn't agree more with what he's saying because we're actually all multifaceted people. I myself, I'm a poet, I'm a painter, I write, I motivational speak. We all, it's really the usage of our minds and what we're putting down to paper. So for it to be explanatory and just leave it to poetry would be even on a higher level of us putting a limit on ourselves and what we're doing. So I agree with the creative minds idea. That's just my
That makes
opinion.
complete sense. And I'm happy it's expansive.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, by the way. Sorry. Sorry to interject.
Yeah, so let's get to know each other a bit right now at this time, right? And I'm gonna go last this time because I usually go first, but I'm gonna go last this time. So let's start with Prolific, and then we'll work our way. However you see fit. I'm going last though. Go ahead,
Okay.
bro.
Yeah, so we'll do myself, we'll do Kristen, we'll do Gabriella, Tammy, and then Catherine, okay? So yes, my name is Prolific Pro Poet, also known as Carlos Wyndham. That's the government name. As I mentioned, I'm a nationally touring spoken word artist, one of the top ranked in my region, nationally known. I'm a public speaker. I have been doing public speaking in different cities and states for over 2 decades now. So, and so I am a person who is very much familiar with trying to motivate, inspire, and move individuals of all different ages, races, backgrounds, and so forth. And one of the things that I'm absolutely passionate about is inspiring people to be the absolute best version of themselves. I do what I do to literally change people's existence. And that's what my whole life is built around. My whole life is built around inspiring, motivating others. And I'm literally one of the people that you will meet who cares about other people just as much, if not more, than I care about myself. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this. I believe in this, and I want for us to all be in a position in which we can be able to make this collective dream come true. So that's a little bit about me as an individual.
Who's next? Is it me?
You.
Oh, it
Yeah.
is me. Okay. Hi, girls. I guess it's all girls, so I might as well say hi, girls. It's so nice to meet you all. And I'm sorry I have to actually run to another meeting, so I'm like getting changed while we're doing the meeting. But my name is Kristen. What can I say about myself? I am a tarot reader. I'm certified in holistic health. I'm an ex-drug addict. I am a woman. I am a mom. Poetry is actually a side thing that I do. I also have a painting business, and I'm a CHHA. But what I have to say is basically is poetry is my therapy. And I found solace in writing to be able to handle my life. So if that helps inspire everybody or anybody, and you guys are all here, I'm sure, for a common cause, I think that it's beautiful. And thank you for welcoming me, and I just want to welcome you guys. Okay. Moving on. Does anybody else want to introduce themselves?
All right, yeah, go ahead, Gabriella.
My name is Gabriella Rubin. My stage name is Gabriella Stella. I'm from Staten Island, New York. Poetry is my life now, but my whole life I was a basketball player. I played in college. I also played professionally. And then I began working as an accountant. Once I started working as an accountant, my life kind of changed, and I went through some things, which is what led me to start writing poetry. A couple months into writing poetry, I was like, I love this. I want to start a club, even though I was so new to the game. So I ended up starting what is still running 3 years later, the House of Expression, which is basically, it's a poetry club. So there's 25 of us. We talk all the time. We help each other reach our poetry dreams, but I've also do a lot of shows, and those shows are for all forms of expression, which is pretty cool. And for me, poetry is something God put in my heart. I feel like out of nowhere, but it's destined. And my mission is to just spread light and share whatever He wants to share through me. So that's it.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful, Gabriella. Appreciate that. Tammy, talk with us, sister.
All right, my name is Tammy Renee, and I actually started writing during the pandemic. I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. I'm a creative mind, and I follow my intuition a lot that led me through life, or connected with source or God, or whichever term you like to use. So I haven't worked corporate America, but I've worked everything else. I am an inspirational, motivational creator. So my page, that's all I've been doing for the last few years, is just putting out motivation, inspirational quotes, poems, writings, pictures. I'm a traveler. But I would like to share 3 things real quick. I did my first live poetry reading yesterday at a funeral. So I did that yesterday, and then 2 weeks before that, I did my first live speaking in front of people. I'm an introvert, but I'm outgoing. So Once I get out, I'm good. But I did a reading live at my dad's funeral 2 weeks ago, and then one for my aunt last week at a funeral. But I also like to share, which Henry helped me on. He did my editing for. I have my first poetry book. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of, there it goes. It's called
There you go.
Food for Thought. I'm trying to get it right. It's called Food for Thought. It's all introspective poetry. It's about life. So it's not a lot of metaphoric poetry in it, right? Really just gets to the point of life so that you can look at your own life. And then I created a notebook to kind of go with it called Words Matter. So I'm really looking forward to using my voice. I know I've been called to use my voice and not just my hands. But I want to get more into using my voice and entertaining with it together. So I do have some ideas to share with the group, things that may be interested in. But I guess we'll get back into that later. But that's me in a nutshell.
Nice to meet you. Lovely.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very nice to meet you, Tammy.
You too. Nice to meet all of you.
Yes. So I am Catherine Yee Nesbitt. I interned with my father's law firm when I was in high school, and I competed in a marketing club. I actually took first at state in Arizona my senior year of high school. I went on to college. I competed in speech and debate and majored in communication studies. I didn't see writing poetry as anything that anybody would actually care about until I met this man named Vlad. That's a community on Instagram of poetry writers. He goes by the group named Word Sleuth. And so I was challenged to teach new words in the context of poetry. And I had never seen these words before. I had no idea how to pronounce them. Thank God for computers and dictionaries that can pronounce words for you so that you know like your flow and your what is it called? Parameter. Help me out, poets. What is it called? Like your syllable count. Who knows? Iambic pentameter.
I was gonna say haiku,
Yeah.
and that's
something like that. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not from Britain. They play by different rules there. And so I had a lot of fun, and I'm really fortunate that my husband provides for me, and I don't really have to worry about a career or anything. I just kind of use my time however I want. I volunteer. I taught a little boy to do what I used to do, which my mother would pay for when I was in elementary school, which is called Jumpstart. So it's like, here's some stuff that you should have learned last year, and let's prepare you for your upcoming year. And I'm so thankful that my mother did that for me my entire elementary school years. Those are so important. And then my father provided my tuition to study at university. So I was very thankful for that as well. And as possible career choices, I have a certification with the Department of Developmental Disabilities. So I've worked with special needs populations. I have also worked with student teaching English. I have an NES, which is a nationally recognized certification, and I studied Common Core in order to prepare for that certification. And I have a peer support because I have an illness, and I went through that certification. I worked just kind of doing peer-led workshops to kind of validate that credential at a place called Resilient Health. Made a lot of friends. I enjoy showing up for things like potlucks for Thanksgiving and people's birthdays. Just a pan of brownies made with from a box with just peanut butter chips. That's my secret ingredient in the brownies. And
What's
yeah,
your
it's
sickness? If you
life.
don't mind
It's a
me
lot of
asking.
fun. What?
What's your sickness you said that you have, if you don't mind me asking?
My second.
You said that you were sick from something. What are you sick from?
Oh, yes. So I have schizoaffective disorder, which means that I struggle with both hypermania and schizophrenia, but only in specific instances. And I manage it quite well. So I compare it to being part of the National Guard. 1 week in a month in the hospital, 2 weeks a year. And maybe that's my contribution to the community. Who knows?
So you're not sick, you're gifted, and that's the difference.
Well, thank you. I
Fabulous.
appreciate that. You're
welcome.
a sweetheart, Kristen. I really appreciate your kind words. And everybody who's on the call, Gabriella, Henry X, Tammy, Prolific. I really appreciate the invitation to come on here and talk with you all.
Oh yeah, every single person that's here and those who are also part of this collective who couldn't be here because of scheduling conflicts, every one of you are very, very much appreciated. And we definitely thoroughly appreciate everything you bring to the table. I'm a person who is an advocate for mental health. I'm an advocate also for those who are abuse survivors. I myself am unfortunately an abuse survivor. Wait, he's 6 foot, what? 200, what? And he's a male? He lifts weights? Yes, we get abused too. Unfortunately, we get abused too. And sometimes a woman will actually physically assault or verbally assault a male because they know that you're not going to do anything. They know that you're a good man or a good person, right? So it's an unfortunate thing. So like I said, we all have our different things that we go through. We appreciate the gifts that you bring to the table, Catherine. Henry, please talk with us.
Well, greetings. My name is Henry X. On Instagram, my name is self-created 124. I was born, raised, and still reside in Detroit, Michigan, the city I love. I'm a 6-time published author. My goal is to write 10 books in 10 years, 6 down, 4 to go. Yeah. I'm an unofficial motivational speaker. Say unofficially because I haven't went to be certified or any of that, but I have helped so many people to realize their greatness. I edit manuscripts. I'm a writing coach, and I had this platform here, Your Voice Matters, where I interview writers, authors. I've interviewed over 300 people. It's close to 4 now. I have a club or a house, or however they say it now, on Clubhouse. It's called Writer's Way. It's been going for 2 years. We almost got 2,000 people, 2,000 members. It's all writer related. You know, we read, write, and discuss everything literary. So many people look at that Clubhouse as a second home, right? And I'm just glad that I was able to create something where people feel safe because it's a safe space. You know, where you can come there, you're not gonna be ridiculed. It ain't none of that going down, period. It's not happening. When it do, and it only happened one time, and both parties gone, right? Completely gone, right? None of that is allowed. And I'm a connector. This is what I do. I sat back and I thought of all the people that I've met just on Instagram. We talking about thousands, literally thousands of people just on Instagram. All these people didn't know each other. I was the common denominator. So because of me, them all knowing me, they all came together and now they know each other. And it blow my mind to just see all these people that once didn't know each other from nowhere, now they like family, right? So that's what I really bring to the table. I bring the ability to bring people to the table, right? As well as other things, but people who know what I know not, right? And I love connecting with people, new people, because I'm always in search of other clarity. And the only way I'm gonna find it is if I have an open mind and I interact with open-minded people. So that's a bit about me. Yeah. So moving on.
Great job, bro. Really appreciate that. And I want to also give a special shout out to Gabby. She is embarking on something that's very, very noble, something that's amazing, something that I believe that she's overqualified for. She's actually running for Miss New York.
That's
She's running for
awesome.
Miss New York. And so
Putting me on
she
the
has
spot.
a GoFundMe and other things that's going on. Gabriella, I want to give you a few moments to, if you want to put anything in the chat to tell everybody about what's going on, how they can be of support to you.
Yeah, so this is something that came out of left field, being that I have been a basketball player my entire life and never really walked in heels. But I do like to push myself out of my comfort zone. So I did apply, and I got chosen to compete and run for Miss New York. So I want to use my platform to advocate for those with physical and intellectual disabilities, as well as autism. My first cousin has Down syndrome, and it hits home. My aunt is on a board at a really big foundation on Staten Island because there's a crisis going on. And those with disabilities and autism, there's a lack of options for homes for them when their parents or caretakers get old or sick or pass away. It's really a crisis. So I really want to use this platform to advocate and see how I can bring people together, see if I can just do something to make an impact. So I did just publish a GoFundMe today because there are expenses that go into it. And I'm just doing the best I can. So I guess I'll share that in the chat if you guys know anybody that would like to donate, even if it's like a little bit or whatever, or if you know someone who might want to get involved that I could connect with other people, please reach out to me. I'll put my Instagram here and I'll put the GoFundMe in the chat.
Can you do me a favor and literally message me on my regular page? I'll definitely donate. That's
Thank
absolutely good.
you.
Yeah, even if it's whatever it is, I'll definitely give something to it. But I may lose it here in the chat. I'm gonna try to look.
I don't know what your Instagram is. You could like tell me now, or I could ask Prolific.
Okay. Yeah, it's poetic, and I'm gonna put it in the chat here. Art empath.
Okay.
So you guys
I
have it.
feel
Okay.
like I might follow you, but I'll check it out. Thank you. I
Yeah,
appreciate
and
that.
if you could just message me like, "Hey, donate to me."
All right, I will for sure. Thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to do this for you, Gabby, because you know that I'm a big fan of yours. Got your back. So this is a great opportunity for individuals to be able to, be of support to you, just like you're support to so many. So one of the things that we want to talk about is specifics. Everybody want to know specifics. I want to know specifics. You want to know specifics. One of the things that Henry and I have talked about is the importance of us actually having proof of concept, right? With anything, you need to have proof of concept in order for it to be able to grow. For example, with my classes, I have multiple people that can vouch for me because they've taken my classes. It's helped them to become slam champions. It's helped them to do this. It's helped them with writing their books, so forth and so on. So I have a list of people that if you come to me right now, I can say, go to this person, they'll tell you. Or I even got on my page some information about different people who have actually vouched for me, right? So we need to have a proof of concept about what it is that we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do. Some of the things that Henry and I have discussed and talked about is potentially having some sort of show eventually, right? So that's going to be something that we definitely want to accomplish. Also, this logo thing is a big part of it, right? But with the logo, we need to have something in which we can attach to the logo. So one of the things that I was thinking about, and I just want to get kind of a few, everybody doesn't have to speak on it, but I just want to get, obviously your thoughts, Henry, and maybe one or two of you queens' thoughts on this, that what I think would be good is if we were to individually, some of us, actually have the logo, right? Talk about the creative minds, but also have a spoken word piece attached to that, right? So as we post on our page, for example, we actually have a spoken word piece, right? So it may start off with the logo, right? And this is just an idea, it can go either way. But just the concept is it's starting off with the logo, right? That's the first thing that they see. And then it fades into us, or we go straight into doing a poetry piece, right? And then maybe it ends with that logo, right? And so, as he mentioned, now it's associated with something. People are wondering, oh, wow, what's this? And this person is part of the Creative Minds
I think that's
Commission, right?
I constantly cut people off. I hate myself for that, but I think that's a lovely, lovely, lovely. It's a marketer. It's like, hey, and not only that, like each of us can like pop up in our own way, perform how we perform, and then it's like, oh well, I wonder who so and so is that, that wrote that poem from. Oh, they're with Creative Minds, so it makes you understand what I'm saying. That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, I
Very
love
good.
it. I love it.
What it is,
Love it.
it gives us a chance to have individuality as performers because it's going to be our piece that we're speaking, but it also gives it that we're a part of something else that's a little bit bigger than us. So I see the vision. Love it. Great
Yeah.
idea.
And something else that I was thinking about is if we were to eventually, at some point, it doesn't have to be now, but again, this is all up for discussion, for us to actually have a page devoted to that so that we all can be able to spit on that, right? And all of our stuff get posted on that page, right? So in addition to it being posted on our individual pages, we also can refer them to the Creative Minds Collective page, right? So, these are all things that I think are practical things of substance, things that we can do immediately that can put us in a position in which now we're getting our name out there. So just think about it. I have 5,000 plus followers. I got like 5,100 followers on my page, right? Gabby has several thousand, right? Each one of you have however many hundreds or thousands of people that you have. So just all of us together, we may have 8,000 to 10,000 people plus that follow us, right? Like I said, I got 5,100 just myself. So if we were to all put that out there, just think, even if a fraction of those people see it, that's still hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are being made aware of what we got going on. And if we do something on a regular basis with that symbol, with that name, then it's drawing attention, it's building up a buzz, right? And that's what you got to do. I've worked in the situation in which I used to be around a lot of people in the music business, right? And I was even invited to be a part of it in my own sense. And so one of the things that I've come to find out is that record executives, for example, is they want somebody that's buzzing, right? They want somebody that has some sort of buzz to them before they sign a person. So I think that it's very important for us to actually build some sort of a buzz for what we're doing. And this is a good, practical, quick, inexpensive way in which we can be able to immediately, in the next couple of weeks, be on top of something. And then we start taking steps towards doing the live shows, right? I've already got some things that I'm working on here in California. Henry has some different things that he's looking at there in Detroit. And so we're going to try to see about how eventually we can get that cracking as well, right? But we need to have, again, everybody on the same page. But I think that it's good to build some sort of a buzz leading up to those things. And so that's just an idea. What say you all?
I think it's a good idea. My only, like, I'm just gonna be honest, because I think it was a great idea. I think the introductory, the way you did it, where it would be like come up like a logo, then we say whatever we say and then leave with a logo. I think that's a good idea. Having a collaborative page, it is a good idea, but it is not a good idea. And I'm going to explain why. And you could disagree with me. I don't like to make people, like, I don't want you to think like I think it's a bad idea, like, oh, no, no, nay. But what I'm saying is with that, when you're putting up personal people's work and we're doing it as a collaboration, if somebody leaves a group or something like that, you have to really think of that because that's their work. So
Right.
that's the only thing that would really tinge my brain about, you know, if I were to find any nay about it. Other than that, all of it, fabulous ideas. But that's like my only, that would be a concern, and B, because I don't know about you, but to me, you know, my poetry, it's not just poetry. And when you're a poet and you really, you know, you really love, excuse my language, but you really love your shit is a part of you. Like, I could honestly say my poetry is a part of me. It's my story. It's who I am. So for me to feel like I want to just give it out and put it out on somewhere where I don't know what's going to happen to her to go, that would make me be somewhat concerned.
And then you also have to deal with ownership too, because we do live in a world where we have to have metrics to prove for advertising and whatever, and comply with all of these traditional ways of making money. And so, you know, Taylor Swift went through this where she breaks up with her record label and then they're like, oh, by the way, we own all your masters. Sorry.
Hey, exactly. Thank you. That was a beautiful point. Very
Yeah.
good analogy,
So,
too.
I mean, I'm not selling anybody into slavery here.
Yeah, so I'm all about making things very simple. Let's just X that idea for right now. There you go.
All right.
No, but it wasn't
Well,
about
I'm gonna share my idea that's gonna conflict with both of their ideas.
Go ahead,
So,
Gabrielle.
one thing I'm kind of leaning towards with my group, the House of Expression, is like I love collaboration work, and not everyone loves collaboration work. But if there is like a group of like 9 of us or whatever that is, I think it would be dope if we made like a collaboration poem about the group, and like, you know, we all had a couple lines like, I'm Gabriella, blah, blah, blah. And my take on, you know, where the mission is, like all of us like have like a little piece on what this mission means to us or whatever, and make like a collaboration introducing this poem. And, you know, maybe put a little music in the back. I don't know, have like a really dope poem with all of our minds involved. And I think that, you know, everyone's gonna get credit on the poem. It's a collaboration poem, but I see like I know things can get complicated. But I think like that's what came to mind like right away. Cause also like when people get to know who we are as individuals, that's big. It's not just a group, it's like who is part of the group. People want to know who's involved in this when they're supporting it. Once they get to know each of us a little bit more, that's gonna make them inclined to, you know, be more involved. We are the group. We are Creative Minds Commission. Each individual one of us.
I love it. That's powerful.
I like the idea. I like her idea, but you know what, I would think the only thing I would like, if I could like put an idea in with it, that's a good idea. But I think would be a good idea is instead of it being something for us introducing ourselves, we would have it like where we'd almost do like a video. So we each have a piece, and then it'll basically be like what poetry is personally for you. Like, what is it for you? Like, you know, like what are you here for? Like, what makes creative minds? What makes all of us? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, some people, it could be, it's their passion. Some other people, it's a therapy. You know what I mean? Whatever it is to them, or however it is to them, they can creatively speak and say what it is, and that's how we're contributing to each other as like in a collaborative group.
And I just want to
Getting me
preface
fired
this
up right
with,
now.
Huh?
Getting me fired up. Love it.
Oh, okay. Yo,
Yeah,
fire on up.
so, and I want to make this clear as well. Any ideas that we as a whole decide to make, if you as an individual don't necessarily feel comfortable participating in or whatever a specific thing, that's your prerogative. That doesn't kick you off the board. That doesn't, you know what I mean? So I just want to make that clear that if we make a decision and you say, well, I think that, you know, it infringes upon my this or that. Well, if it infringes upon your whatever, just don't participate in that specific thing. You're still part of the family, right? Everybody doesn't have to specifically be included in every single aspect of things. So that's something that just going forward, I want everybody to kind of have in mind, because that will help us to stay focused on the actual goal at hand. So the specificity of all of the little things like that, those things are not as important as in doing the things that's going to build towards the actual goal. So if something doesn't feel comfortable to you, definitely communicate with myself or Henry X, because we are the progenitors of this idea, right? I guess if you was to say anything, we're the, you know, part of the board, right? So, you know, these would be the individuals that you communicate with, like, I personally don't feel, you know, this goes against my religion, this goes against my principles, this goes against, hey, I'm going to be sometimes not involved in certain things because it's against my religion, my principles, right? So I just want everybody to understand that, you know, you do have autonomy as an individual, even though we are a collective. So everybody doesn't have to, you know, participate in every single thing in order for you to be a part of the family, right? So I just want to make that clear. Thoughts and comments, Henry?
Yeah, it's crazy. What Gabrielle said, I was thinking the same exact thing. Same exact thing. I couldn't come off. She got to the mic before me. But I was thinking that, you know, we create a theme song for Creative Minds Commission. Theme song, right? Where you always hear it. It's always associated with it. When you see the logo, you'll hear that. Like you were saying, each one of us have like, you know, a few lines, and those lines will feed off each other. First person, then the next person to feed off that person, so on and so forth, right? And it just flows, and we work with it until it just flows naturally, right? Till it's just a natural flow, nothing long, nothing drawn out, but it's to the point, right? And it got us all in there, right? We all, because when I'm a part of something, I want everybody to be involved in every aspect of it. Every aspect. I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm this and that. No, I'm just an individual that's a part of something you a part of, period. I don't have no more power than you. I never want to be regarded as that, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example. When I started the club on Clubhouse, I reached out to everybody I was connected with. I had 2 names. I said, look, which one of these names do you like? So it was a vote, right? Whichever one got the most, that's what I was gonna go with. Boom. When the club actually got started, I said, look, what do y'all want to do in here? What do y'all want? I could have sat down and did everything. Look, this is what we doing. You ain't got no input. Get out of here. I wanted everybody to feel that they was a part of this. So from that point to this point, I consult with, I got 5 moderators. I consult with each one of them before I make a decision. I don't make no premature decision. Everything is planned out, thought out. They don't like it, then we go back to the drawing board. That's how I want to be with anything I'm associated with. Never want to stand out. I want to fit in to this. Now, when it comes to my individual creativity, I always want to stand out. I don't never want to fit in. I want people to be like, that's him. How you know? Because he over there. He not over here with this big conglomerate, right? He over here letting himself be seen. But when I'm a part of a group, I want to be a part of that group and do group things and be a group member and not some figurehead or hierarchy. I ain't with it. I ain't with none of that. I'm in the crowd when I'm with the crowd. I'm in it, right? Not above it. So yeah, but that's my take on it. I really like that idea about us all coming up with a spoken word piece that's relevant to this title, and it'll always go with the logo. So when you see the logo, you'll hear that every time. Every single time you'll hear that.
Can I submit a line from a song? I have no idea who sings it, but it works as both a hook and a bridge to connect ideas as well as provide inspiration. I know I found it very helpful over the issues that I've been facing with my own mental health, which is the line goes, "You can't let anybody stand in your way. You just have to get back up now. You just have to get back up." And that goes back to my belief that, it's kind of a joke that goes, if we knew you were going to be a writer, we would have been better parents. And, it's like if we were normal, well-adjusted people, we wouldn't be writers. We wouldn't be cool. We would have never, experienced the world, been sinners, dabbled in whatever it is we did to be persecuted and hated and come out the other side, because you don't, like, if you're raised and indoctrinated in something and your parents say, I want you to be my clone, I want you to be just like me when you grow up, and the prodigal son says, no, I'm leaving with the money, he kind of has to develop his own faith, or she has to develop her own faith with God, that yes, God will provide, yes, everything will come to fruition. But these children that are coddled until they're 26 years old, and then it's like, yeah, they're 26, then we'll start, let them out into the world and experience things. I believe that Amish communities have the correct principles, and that one, they're self-sustaining. Everything is made locally, everybody does their part. There's not really a concept of currency within a Amish community. It's more or less like, how many gifts can I give you to get what it is, that thing that you make? That's kind of their model.
Bartering.
So show up for other people. They show up for their neighbors in times of drought, in times of famine. And
Exactly.
they also do what's called gap year. In America, we would consider it, go backpack around Europe and then come back and go to university or whatever, experience some things. And in the Amish faith, like, you don't become a full-fledged member until, you're 18 years old, recognized as an adult by the law internationally, and have spent a year doing whatever it is that you want. And then you come back to your parents and say, I agree with you, I want to live this lifestyle. Or no, I don't want to be a carpenter. I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to be a seamstress. I would rather go out into the world and do this. And your parents still love you, and they're not gonna, not welcome you home for Christmas and Thanksgiving or any other time that you miss them. It's not like you're annexed from the community. It's that they understand that they can't let you ride the coattails of their faith forever.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I'm just gonna say that I don't know how we got on the subject of the Amish. I read a crazy article.
Hey,
The other day.
Kristen, Gabriella has to go. Just wanted to make sure we had a chance to say goodbye to her and to thank you as well, Queen.
Hi,
Thank you so much
Gabriella.
for your thoughts, Gabriella. I will be in contact with you to fill you in on the rest of the things that we talk about. Okay, Queen?
Thank you so much. It was so nice to meet everybody, and I'm so excited to be part of this group. Have a great night, everybody.
So nice to meet you.
You as well.
Good night.
See you, Queen.
So we have another person that has joined us, and that's Tequila Sway. I see you there, Miss Sway. I'm gonna have to go in a minute. Yeah, this meeting was supposed to be an hour and 30 minutes. So at 6:30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 and I'm gonna have to go in a minute because I gotta go get my sister from dialysis. But Miss Sway, open your mic and introduce yourself if you don't mind, please. If you're able. Are you there, Tequila?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Hey, good evening, everyone. If you are on the East Coast, if you are anywhere else, I don't know what time it is, but greetings. I am Tequila Sway. My government name is Tequila Cheatham. I am an artistpreneur, of course, and I do anything from poetry, playwriting, uh, screenwriting, sketching, some of everything. I just love art in general. So one of the reasons why I'm here is because I believe in what Professor Henry X is doing. Of course, he's always looking to push the poetry community more, just like just like myself, look for different ways to push the poetry community. So however we could do that, push the community, but also push entrepreneurship, I'm all for that. So nice to meet y'all.
Well, it's
Nice to meet you.
you.
I love
Um,
artistpreneur. That's a really cool word.
Yeah, my name is Prolific, Pro Poet. Myself and Henry are the two individuals that kind of got this organized. So it's really a joy to have you with us, Ms. Sway. I've seen some of your work and the advice that you give to artists and so forth. And I see as well that you do have a strong desire to help individuals to not only be good at their craft, but to be good at the business aspect of that. So thank you so very much for joining us tonight.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Likewise. Yeah, so one of the things that we were talking about were some specific ideas to take our concept and make it a actual reality. And just to kind of recap what our vision is, we're trying to push poetry into a place that it's never been. We're trying to push it into a renaissance to where it has reached the highest level that it's ever been in the history of mankind. And we're trying to do specific things that's going to help make that come to fruition, right? And so we've come up with, a name, we've come up with a logo, and we were discussing those various aspects of things and what it is that we bring to the table. So we would like to ask you, Tequila, what would you think that you would be able to bring to this collective as far as in the way of your abilities, experience, and so forth that can actually help with the mission that we're trying to accomplish?
Well, for one, it's by setting the foundation and pushing this entrepreneurship mindset more. I don't know if you guys see my page last year, but I got my certificate in specifically women's entrepreneurship, but it can go either way. It could be for anyone. It's not just for women. And because of the lack of knowledge in some areas and because of the lack of resources, we don't know which direction to go. So I feel like I've learned at least the basics enough to hand over and kind of pass the baton to, so that we can all start strengthening our entrepreneurship mindsets first, because it takes the mind to even embark on something like that. We already have the creativity, right? Now we just have to start training our brains to think as entrepreneurs. The more we do that, the more resources will open up to us, because we'll know how to go look for it. We'll know the language to use to go talk to whomever. And the more that I even practice this, the more I'm realizing how many doors are opening because of that. So what I can bring to the table is the entrepreneurship skills that I've been learning the past year and giving it to you guys, and let's implement it, because implementation is the most important thing. So I'm also going to be the driver. Y'all might not, I might get on your nerves sometimes, but we need that accountability, so that's what I have to offer at the moment.
Hey, I definitely appreciate that, Queen. And I think that we're both on the same page with that, holding ourselves and others accountable. Just in case you don't know a little bit about my history, I'm one of the top ranked slam poets here in my region of the country. I'm a nationally touring artist, nationally known touring artist who've toured all around the country, everywhere from New York, New Jersey, DMV area, the Carolinas, you name it, right? West Coast, right? I'm here in California. And so, and I also teach classes online, helping individuals to step their craft up when it comes to writing, performance, and so forth, since I am a prize winner in those particular areas. And one of the things that I do is hold myself as well as those who come into my orbit accountable, right? It's all about being accountable. And if each person is accountable for what it is that they're trying to accomplish in the collective, then we'll be in the best possible position to position ourselves as a collective to be successful. Because ultimately, we have to be disciplined, we have to be focused, and we have to be determined to accomplish any and everything that's going to help push the greater good, right? And we have to definitely stay away from an individual mindset, right? And have a team mindset, because we're stronger together. It's just like a hand, right? An open hand slap is powerful, but if you put your fingers together, ball them up, right, that becomes significantly more powerful, right? You pack a punch, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to really come together, use our creative abilities, our business abilities, and use those things to drive the narrative that's going to help push this collective forward. Because if we focus our attention on the collective, right, we can have our own brands and stuff like that on the side, because I got my brand, I got my thousands of followers, and I'm going to continue to push that. But also, we have to have this collective mindset where we work together. And so that's one of the things that we're really trying to encourage with the situation. And we thank you so much for being willing to bring your talents and abilities to this. Because like I said, I've seen some of your videos and the things that you do, because some of the people that follow me follow you. So I've been sent your posts and things of that nature. So I definitely respect what it is that you are doing and have done. And so one of the things that we were talking about is the importance of us taking our abilities, combining them, and maybe coming up with a actual post at some point where we all are talking about this collective, right? Because Henry mentioned that what we need to do is really put our logo out there, put our name out there, so that people can recognize who we are. And it's very important for us to build up a buzz, something that's going to make it where people begin to become familiar with the Creative Minds Commission, right? And so if we post things, once this logo gets developed, and if we do something together where those of us who want to participate in it are actually spinning a piece, right, in connection with what it is that we're trying to accomplish, Henry believes that that's something that can as well help to push the narrative forward. So those are, just to recap some of the things that we've talked about today. And again, truly appreciate, you bringing what you have to the table. Now, you mentioned something about the business aspect of things. Could you give us maybe one practical idea of what you're thinking about we can do to actually help push the business aspect of things forward?
Yes, absolutely. And also thank you for the compliments. I've seen some of your stuff as well, and you're pretty dope. So yes, we need that type of experience as a collective. As far as practicality, I would say the basics of everything is to have a mission statement, have a purpose, the values, what we're standing for, the reason why we're pushing it so hard. If we start with the basics, everything else will line up with that. Because if we don't have a purpose for what we're doing, of course, then everything won't be clear. But the basics when it comes to building a business on paper is to have the mission statements, the purpose, and the layout, because generally when we go network and speak to others, that's what they want to see, that's what they want to hear. So if we have it already outlined, we can talk about it confidently. They see it and they want to be a part of it, you know. So I would say that that will be the beginning steps of it. And then of course it comes to having the name, registering it, you know, by having an EIN, then, you know, registering it, whatever state we're going to do. Those are the basics, you know, and determining if it's going to be a nonprofit or a for-profit business. So, you know, all of those minor steps are actually major, but those are the basic steps that we need to take.
I guess it
I
depends on
definitely,
what
I definitely
people's
appreciate that, because those are some of the exact same things that I was talking about before. And, you know, definitely when Henry comes back, we just want to make sure that he's on the same page with that. Because to me, having the government aspect of things, even though, you know, we may not necessarily want to be fully connected with the government, woo, 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 it is very important if we're going to try to make this be what we're trying to make it to be, right? Sometimes government loans and things of that nature, like just to give you an example, when I was on tour in March and April. And when I was on tour, one of the events that I did, I actually, part of the way in which they paid me was through government grant, right? So all of the other curators and the different cities and states, they gave me cash, check, whatever. But this particular person, they gave me a partial payment of, you know, cash or whatever. But then they also had $250 of that money from the government, right? So I had to go through the process of filling out paperwork, so forth and so on. And so did the curator. So the bottom line is, since I'm a nationally known touring artist, I have to have myself in a situation when I'm dealing with certain, you know, artists, for example, or certain places, I have to have myself in a position in which I can be able to fill out that, right? I need to be able to get that money, and I need to be able to have the government help me in that particular way. And so there may be certain things that we want to accomplish with this collective that, simply put, we just don't have the funds or resources at the moment to accomplish. And we may just need the help of the government. And as you mentioned, we're going to have some sort of information that they can be able to, you know, harken back to and say, are you an individual doing this, or are you a collective, or are you an entity that's doing this, right? So you have to be a business-minded person. So getting a LLC, a EIN, you know, a trust, things of those natures, those are all things that we definitely have to, at some point, talk about and try to figure out the specifics of that. And something that you mentioned, Tequila, that I think that we can actually implement and do immediately is, I would like to have yourself, me, and Gabriella, who just left. I think that it would be dope if the three of us were to come together and then bring it back to the rest of the group about what the mission statement is. Because I would love for the three of us to collaborate on that. And then, you know, you and I will make the final decision on what we present to the group. I think that a good mission statement would definitely be something that would help to push our narrative forward so that people can really know what we're about. What say you, Queen?
Yes,
Guys-
absolutely. And I know
Guys,
someone
I'm
else
so,
is trying to
excuse
speak
me,
too.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm so sorry, but I would have to cut out and go because I have a meeting right now.
Thank you so much for pulling up, Queen. We really appreciate you, Christian.
Yeah, I'll thank you guys. It was a pleasure meeting everybody. Let's get in touch for another meeting. And Prolific, I'll definitely talk to you later, probably after this meeting.
Sounds good, Queen. Thank you so
And
much.
Henry also, feel free to ever message me, you know, I know that we don't really communicate too much. I would like to get to know you more and communicate with you more. So, you know, message me, send me a, hey, you know, meetings, any ideas you have. I'm all for it. Okay.
I can. Yeah, and we can set up an interview too. That's a great way to get to know me. Me interviewing you. right? Yeah, I mean, it's a long ways away because I mean, what is it? October, November? That's the earliest date, but it's a
I
start.
need the time, so that's lovely. I need the time.
Yeah,
Believe me,
yeah.
I'm running
So yeah,
around like a chicken with no head.
I'll reach out to you before the weekends.
Oh, lovely. Okay, well, let's definitely touch base, and I'll talk
Okay.
to you later. I'll talk to you later, Prolific. Catherine, please follow me. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Of course,
Miss Sway
absolutely.
and Tammy, feel free to follow me at poetic_art_empath. And it was just a pleasure to meet everybody. Okay.
Pleasure to
Thank
meet
you so
you.
much, Queen. Appreciate everything you brought to the table, my friend. We'll talk with you later on
bye.
tonight.
Okay. Lovely. Bye.
See you, Queen.
Yeah, unfortunately, good people, I have to start cooking dinner.
Hey, man, I'm gonna need you to ship some of that here to Los Angeles, man. I'm gonna need some of that, bro. I'm gonna need some of that, bro.
Trust me, I make just enough for
Same.
them.
Oh,
I don't even eat. I
man.
don't even eat what they eat. I don't eat what they eat. I make enough for them. I'm a vegan, so they carnivores. I don't eat what they eat, right? So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So before you go, cuz this is what I want to mention to you. Sway and I were talking with the group, and we kind of recapped what we talked about. And she brought up very powerful points. She talked about the importance of us looking into nonprofit, profit, trademarks, all that kind of stuff, LLCs, the whole 9 yards. That was some of the things that she kind of mentioned. And, we definitely, I remember we talked about that our very first meeting about some of those aspects of things. And of course, I know that you have strong feelings about us kind of doing things ourselves, but, she brought up some very, powerful points that was in line with what we had discussed before. So, we'll talk about that in more detail in our next meeting. But something that we did conclude that we want to accomplish immediately was hopefully sometime this week, myself, Sway, and Gabriella, we're going to come together and we're going to create a mission statement, right? Because that's something that's going to be very important driving forward to help people to see what we're trying to accomplish, why we're trying to accomplish it, and so forth. So you and I will hopefully talk in the interim, but definitely myself, Sway, and Gabriella, we're going to be the ones kind of taking the lead in that. And then ultimately, myself and Sway will go through the finalization and present it to you guys as a group. So that's kind of what we were talking about while you was, flipping the neck bones over for the family. You know what I mean? So
No. First, I had to go get my sister from dialysis, from transportation. Now I'm about to go start cooking.
Got you. So that's what we're thinking about doing. And hey, Tequila, do you have my page?
I need to make sure if I do or not.
Yeah, it's ProPoet01. It's actually in my description. If you look on my camera here, at ProPoet01. You follow me, Queen, and I'll follow you back. Log on.
Yeah, I just found it.
So
Okay.
did she do an introduction of herself?
Yeah, she did.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Our
as soon as you walked
entrepreneur,
away,
our
bro,
in-house entrepreneur.
I kept it status quo.
Yeah, you're right. I remember you saying the what is it called? What's that handle?
What's that?
Your handle.
Tequila Sway, artistpreneur.
Artistpreneur. That's it.
Yeah.
You got that copywritten?
I need to. It's copywritten on my page for now.
Yeah. Hey, go through GoDaddy and see if somebody got that.
Well, my name is Tequila Sway is.
Oh no, I'm talking about the
artistpreneur.
Yeah. So that's all one thing. You get that? That's all one thing. Tequila Sway, artistpreneur. That's all one thing.
No, only Tequila Sway. I didn't add the artistpreneur part yet, but I was thinking about making that a separate thing though.
Yeah, look it up to see, and then if it's not, look, get a domain,
Right.
and solidify that, right?
Right.
You'd be surprised at how people think. We'd be like, oh, I get it. And you go over there and somebody already got it.
I
Like,
know. That is the
then
truth.
they give you all these whack options. You're like, man, I might as well come up with a new name.
And that's a whole different thing too, because when you go and choose your name, you got to be creative because somebody's going to already have the regular version of it.
Yeah. Fortunately, no one had right path.
Right.
Path 47. Nobody had that. So I was like, yeah, that's the name of my business. Right path 47.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you gotta be creative with them names because people think like we think. We all thinkers, We all think. Thought travel too. So
that is true.
I want to thank you all for coming, showing out. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time like the other meetings. We had a lot of time. This was a really unorthodox time. 5.
Right.
5
but it
o'clock.
worked for me.
Yeah. It'll work for a whole bunch of other people too. But then it's a whole bunch of people that reach back to me. I'm at work. I'm this, I'm that. I was like, yeah, I get it. But when I'm gonna say this and then we can leave. When I send out these things, I send them out to about 50, 60 people. I don't expect more than half of those people to show up, right? But I send it because I never want somebody to be like, you never sent me anything. I don't never want nobody, yes, I did. Check your DM, you got it, right? But I knew you wasn't probably gonna be able to make it. But just in case you were able to, I sent it to you. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and it's never going to be a perfect time for everybody. If you say 7 o'clock, oh no, that's what time I cook my chicken. If you say 8 o'clock in the morning, no, I'm at work. If you say 11 o'clock at night, no, I'm sleeping. It's always going to be a schedule that's going to be jacked up for somebody. So
always.
Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? Period.
Always. It reminds me of when I first started, before this became Your Voice Matters, it was called Positive Place. So I made the misstep of letting people tell me what time worked for them. Man, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the, I'm like, so I'm in some of them interviews, I was like I was on drugs. When I asked you, I was like, no, next time it's a set time. If you can't make it, I'll catch up with you at a later time. But man, that taught me a valuable lesson, man. I'm talking about I was up at 12 at night, midnight, and I go to bed at 9.
Oh no.
Man, I was like toothpicks. Okay, yeah. What you say? All right. No, I didn't.
I also wanted to say hi to Miss Tammy Renee. I see you over there in the building. Sorry, I had to have my camera off, and say hi to Catherine.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm gonna be coming back to social media soon.
Don't sound so enthusiastic about it.
No, I actually want to come back. I'm making myself stay back to process everything that's happened.
A quick question for you, Sway. Whereabouts are you in the country?
I am in Maryland.
Oh,
so
you're in Maryland.
DMV
Okay.
area.
Okay, yeah, I was out there on tour. I had a couple shows out there back in April. Man, I hate.
Oh, recently? This April?
Yeah, I was on tour back in March and April, and I hit the DMV up. Got a chance to, kick it with a bunch of poets. Like one of the places that I featured at was, Nerd the Poet.
That sounds familiar, but I don't really hang out, to be honest. I'm usually working in the background, so I don't hang out with as many poets as I would probably like. Yeah, but that name sounds familiar though.
Yeah, I featured at his joint. Then you had Uncultured Asian. She
Okay.
was there. Yeah, and so all of them. When I was there, I was able to hit up some shows and feature. But I hate that I didn't get a chance to meet you while I was there. But hopefully on my next tour, we can make that happen for sure.
Oh yeah,
But,
absolutely.
But thank you so very much, everybody who came through today. It was a blessing to be able to meet those of you who I've never had a chance to meet before. Catherine, Tammy, thank you, Queens, for pulling up and for supporting the vision that we have that's going to benefit not only ourselves, but benefit generations of people long after we're dead, right? Because that's what Henry X and I are trying to accomplish. We're trying to accomplish something that's going to outlive us. So, that's what we're all about. And we appreciate you, Queens, and y'all beautiful minds contributing to the situation. Blessings to all of you. And we will be in contact with you, Queens, to let y'all know about future meetings that we'll be having in the coming weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you
you.
guys. I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
All right. Have a good one,
Bye.
Henry.
Thanks, bye.
You all have an awesome rest of your evening. And we'll talk soon.
Talk to y'all soon. Have a good evening.
Bye.
All
And
right.
keep creating, because that's what we was created to do. Create.
Absolutely.
Please.
Bye.